Oh, you're fooling yourself. You don't believe it. You're killing yourself, but you don't believe it. Come on, come on. Let's see what you got. And I bet that you know it. Come on, come on. Da-da-dee-da-da-dee.
You know, I don't even recognize the song.
You don't recognize the song?
I
How
don't.
dare you?
It's because you're singing so poorly.
all right. Hold on. I'm gonna share something with you right now from today. Okay.
Okay. I hope I can handle this.
You and I had the pleasure of doing today. Before we even start the show, ladies and gentlemen, here's the thing. Before I even say anything, the reason we're starting at 8 o'clock is because the first guest at 7:30, Jack Blades from Night Ranger, had to cancel last minute. Waiting for our second guest, who was supposed to be here at 8 o'clock, has not shown up yet. So Naomi and I, as professional as we are, we're vamping. We're doing a little vamping.
Yeah, but you know what? This is live stuff. You know what I mean?
This is live stuff. Naomi and I already did a beautiful show this morning with Lawrence Gowan from Styx. He was a phenomenal interview. And
Very
I wanted to
interesting.
show you. I cut out the clip. Hold on one second. I cut out the clip from when he sang for us, and I put it all over social media. Here it is. Take a listen, and let's have a little music to start the show.
Okay.
Here you go.
Good music. Good music.
Good music. Here you go. Ready? Here you go. Believe.
Yeah.
Can you just give me like 20, 30 seconds of "You're fooling yourself, you don't believe it"?
Sure, that's Tommy's song, but sure.
Screw Tommy. You do it.
Sure, yeah.
All right, I'm ready.
Are you fooling yourself if you don't believe it? Yes, you're killing yourself if you don't believe it. Get up, get back on your feet. You're the one they can't beat, and you know it. Oh, come on.
Come on.
Let's see what you got. Just take your best shot and don't blow it. Whoa, oh, 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 whoa.
Oh, nice.
Hey Lawrence, you know what? The guy in the room next door is like, who the heck is singing away? Sounds like.
Can you guys lower that?
You know what's funny? You
What?
can recognize it when Styx sings it.
Yeah.
When you sing it, not so much.
Oh, you
Not
didn't
so
like
much.
when I sang it? How dare
No, it
you?
was a little. It sounded a little different. Let's just put it that way.
How dare you, Naomi?
I
You're
know.
supposed to say, Scott, you sound amazing.
You know, you have all these worshipers. I have to sort of be the voice of reason.
I was told that Brian Volk Weiss will be joining us momentarily.
Fantastic.
So that's good news. Brian will be joining us in just a second. So, like I said, so Naomi and I had a show this morning with Lawrence Gowan from Styx. We sang. He told great stories. We were supposed to have Jack Blades tonight from Night Ranger at 7:30. What happened is the gentleman from ZZ Top. What's his name?
His name is Dusty Hill.
Dusty Hill passed away today. Jack Blades is very good friends with Dusty Hill, so Jack wasn't really. He didn't have the head to come on.
Yeah,
and do
I can
the show
understand
tonight.
that. That's sad news.
So we were starting at 8 o'clock tonight. Brian Volk Weiss is going to join us in just a minute. He's the executive producer of this great series on Disney Plus called Behind the Attractions. It's all about Disney World and the rides and how they came about and the stories behind those rides.
Yeah, to talk to him about that.
I also told everybody we have Phil, a very special. Where's Phil? Phil's somewhere in a pool singing, I think, Commodores. So we'll check.
Yeah, and he looks really good too, ladies. He looks good.
But, yes, everybody was very excited. You ready to start the show, Naomi, babe?
I'm ready, Scotzo.
Here we go. Brian Volk Weiss coming in on the other side. Here we go, everybody.
The Suki and Scott Show.
This is one of the funnest shows I've ever done.
Lady, when you're with me, I'm smiling.
It's musical. It's magical.
Suki and Scott, that's 7 of Hearts. Exactly.
This is a sexy show.
Someone's getting some action.
Now, these larger-than-life personalities are on an exciting new journey as they bring you the Suki and Scott Show.
You guys nailed it. You're great. You ask great questions. You listen.
I answered you because I have respect for you guys, and there was a question Respectfully put.
The Suki and Scott Show is your one-stop destination for humor,
You like De Niro and Cape Fear. Counselor!
entertainment,
Jesse's girl.
Wonderful.
Can you paint with all the colors of the wind?
and optimism.
You guys have such amazing energy.
Ultraviolet light, it gets in there and it just fights the kung flu, is that right? Okay.
Let's laugh together.
I love you.
The Suki and Scott Show.
Oh, that's what we've been doing for the last year and a half, Naomi.
Honestly,
Laughing
star-studded
together.
cast there.
Listen, this show started as like a little goof with Suki and myself on Zoom. Next thing you know, we have celebrities flowing in,
Man,
entertainers,
this is a
performers.
high-end production.
210 shows later.
And you keep cranking them out, Scott. You keep cranking
It's
them
wild.
out.
Listen, we're the #1 show over on Star. You know, I like to brag about that. Look at
Yeah.
Heartland in second place. Johnny Carson way down there in the 6th spot.
Oh, I can't believe you're beating Johnny Carson.
And listen, I've tried to get out of the show. I've tried to stop it many times, Naomi. I can't stop it.
I
We're
know.
booked solid through
Yeah.
August now.
Yeah.
I can't get out of it if I wanted to.
It's your own fault.
Anyway, listen, we have a very big gentleman, a very big Hollywood executive producer, Brian Volk Weiss. He's standing by. Can't keep him waiting. He's a very busy man, Naomi. How
Yes.
dare you? He, along with the Rocks production company, $7 Productions, have put out a series that's on Disney Plus called Behind the Attraction.
Yes,
And
very
listen,
cool.
I've been to Disney World 1,000 times with the kids. Know the rides like the back of my hand. But it's just so cool to see the stories behind when they were first put together and what was behind. And, you know, they didn't all come about so easily. Let's say.
No, the Imagineers were very busy.
Yeah. So here's a little trailer, a little preview of the series Behind the Attraction, and then we'll bring Brian in on the other side. Take a look.
Get ready for the ride of a lifetime.
Yes. 360 immersion.
Not technically, but that's the spirit. Discover the true stories behind Disney's most iconic and beloved attractions across the globe.
That could be interesting.
Well, we could do better than interesting.
I was in awe. I was amazed.
There we go. Exactly what we'd expect from executive producers Dwayne Johnson, DANY GARCIA, and Brian Volk Weiss, right?
Right?
Right. So hold on tight for a ride so amazing it inspired a movie with this guy.
The backside of water.
That's right. Jungle jokes.
It's exciting and it's tantalizing in a way. You don't know what's around the corner.
You'll get a copy of the spiel script, and that's kind of like a menu.
Ooh, delicious puns.
I love a good pun.
A small world with a tiny problem.
At first, they were going to sing their own national anthem.
It's just noise.
Cropped castles.
People are surprised that it's only 70 feet tall. No! Yes!
Yeah.
And what in the galaxy far, far away is that?
We refer to it as the Darth Vader Ballet.
This is the kind of making of dreams are made of.
This is what makes it so authentic to me.
It's like nothing else you've ever seen.
And so much more that won't fit in this trailer, so here's a montage. Okay, that's it. Behind the Attraction. Streaming July 21st. Oh, wait, I thought we were done. Oh, right. The logo animation.
I thought that was you doing the voiceover, for God's sake.
You know, for a second, I thought you sounded like me too.
Brian, did you have Naomi doing the voiceover for that?
I wanted to, but we couldn't get her.
Oh man, I would have loved that.
She's very busy filling in for Suki on this program, my friend.
Welcome.
How are you, bud? Good to see you, man. Good
Fun to be
you.
here.
I see you have a plethora, if you will, of figures behind you there.
Yeah,
Are you in your office?
I have well, this was my collection room for my whole life, and then my good buddy COVID happened, and then this has been my office for 18 months.
Nice.
We've all been stuck inside for a long time, but that looks like a very interesting place to be where you are.
Just to really freak you out, Naomi, and you probably would have thought of this on your own, but you could only see this side. It's all around.
All around. Holy mackerel.
And by the way, when he goes to sleep at night, they all come to life. All those figures
Well,
in the back.
Great
That's
movie.
Toy Story. That's the wrong.
I'll tell you. No, that's Small Soldiers. I'll tell you something funny. For years, I was telling people I had 2,000 toys, but in my head, I didn't think I did. I thought I had 1,700 or 1,800 or whatever. Then one day, my daughter says to me, "Let's count your toys," and I go, "Okay." First of all, she got bored before we got to 100 and left, but I kept going. Way over 2,000 toys. So I was actually a little horrified when I realized that.
Oh my God. Have you always been like a toy nut though? Is that sort of how this whole thing started?
Yes, that's how it's how I met DWAYNE, everything.
I love it. I love it. How did you meet? I still call him The Rock because I'm still at WWE 12 years. But how did you guys and Danny get together?
So it's really funny. I'm sitting there going through security at LAX, and I get a text from the head of our accounting department. She's never texted me before, and she sure as hell didn't ever, even if she had, probably wouldn't have texted me at 5 a.m. But I was going through security, so I was very nervous. That's not the person you want to get a text from at 5 a.m.
Right.
It was out of a movie. As I'm putting my phone in the security in the the trick
yeah.
I see her name and I'm like, oh man. So I have a good 2 or 3 minutes of fear as to why she's texting me. I thought someone stole all our money or something.
Yeah.
And I go through security, I get my phone. She had sent me a picture of DWAYNE, and I guess she didn't think I was cool because she didn't think I followed DWAYNE.
Right.
But it was a picture of DWAYNE watching this show we do on Netflix called The Toys That Made Us.
Yes.
And saying how good it was. 2 days later, a guy named Brian Gewirtz, who you may have heard of.
Sure, I know Brian.
He calls me up. He's like, "Hey, I'm calling you from $7. The rest is history."
Wow.
The rest is history. And now the three of you guys working together.
Yes, they always picked a picture of me where I look the most angry. I love thrilled. Danny looks cool.
Right.
Looks like DWAYNE, always awesome. And then I look like I'm furious at both of them.
Yeah, I showed that to Naomi before. I said, "But I hope we can make Brian laugh. He looks like he's pissed."
He's very serious for a funny toy guy.
I always look like every picture. Yeah. And ironically, I don't know anyone who laughs more.
So Brian, listen, I'm behind the attractions on Disney Plus right now. And it's a great series about, all of the major attractions at the different Disney World, Disneyland parks. And to me, I'm shocked that this wasn't done years earlier. I'm surprised it took this long. I know it's got to be a very research intensive, interview intensive type of thing. But what were, if you can, not to give anything away, but what were some of the, 2 or 3 of the craziest things you learned about some of these attractions?
So it's always a great question to get and a somewhat tough question to answer because the craziest stuff we saw, I can't talk about.
Okay.
But then on the other hand, some of the cooler, but the good news is more and more of what we saw is getting declassified. So
okay, good.
That robot, that Spider-Man robot, we saw that robot not as Spider-Man, literally just a robot jumping around a warehouse. And we left. I was with 4 or 5 of my colleagues, and we left the warehouse, and it was we just looked at each other and didn't talk for 10 seconds. So we had a lot of moments like that. But here's the thing. Whenever I direct, I always try and find things that are relatable, but they're things that are staring you in the face that you've seen 1 trillion times.
Mm-hmm.
But you never think about how they got in front of you. So I'll give you a great example. One of my what I'm about to tell you, this was one of the things that we heard in our, after the show was greenlit, after the paperwork was done, we did about a 4-month research. And to be honest with you, it became apparent they had to loop us in, basically make us honorary, not literally, but kind of honorary Disney people. So in the first meeting we had, this was something we were told that rattled my brain, and it allowed me to look at everything in the right way. We were interviewing, no cameras or anything. We were interviewing an Imagineer named Dave Durham. Okay. And Dave was like, we were talking about this attraction. It's a submarine ride. It was originally 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Mm-hmm. Now it's Nemo. And yes, you're good.
I like that. You like that, huh?
How did you do that so quickly?
Listen, I'm ready for any. You want to talk about your wife? I got your wife on here too.
That's freaking me out. Wow, that would really freak me out. So my point is, he was like, here's what you have to understand. We are redoing the submarine ride right now. That means we got to tear it up and rebuild it. But while it's torn up, not piss off Dr. Whitehead, my 8th grade English teacher. While it's torn up, we are laying cable and pipes for things we will be doing in the 2030s.
Wow.
So that blew my mind, and he saw how it blew my mind. And then he said this other thing that blew my mind. He was like, okay, so for the Nemo submarine, every porthole actually has on the outside of the sub a projector beaming images onto the porthole. Well, when we build an attraction, we assume, hopefully, that attraction is going to be up and running for 20 years.
Yeah, sure.
Well, how many projecting companies do you know that are selling the same projector for 20 years?
Yeah.
Wow.
Nobody. So when we decide we need projectors for a ride, we call the company that makes the projector. We buy 20 years of projectors. We buy 20 years of light bulbs for that projector. We have to make sure that the brackets that hold that projector onto the outside of the sub, we got to make sure there's 20 years of those, because who knows if they're going to be making those things in 15. So
yeah,
that, and again, I'm very deliberately kind of, I could sit here and tell you about the basketball court in, you know, the Matterhorn and all this other stuff that's been talked about a billion times. But what we try, did you guys ever see The Matrix?
No.
Bits and pieces. I never got into that series.
There's a scene in The Matrix where one of the characters, Trinity, is in the Matrix. And there's a helicopter they need to take them to freedom, but she doesn't know how to fly a helicopter. So I know this is confusing if you haven't seen the movie, but she basically calls outside of the Matrix and she's like, hey, I need to know how to fly a helicopter. And the guy outside of the Matrix is like, beep, beep, beep. And she's like, bah. And then all of a sudden she knows how to fly a helicopter. That's what we tried to do for people, that after they see the series, they go to the park and they're like Trinity. They now they see everything.
Get it.
They see it all
in a different way. Yeah.
They now know, wow, these people, Disney, the Imagineers, when they dig a hole, they're thinking 15 years in the future, not just why they dug that hole.
Yeah.
So I know that's a long answer, but hopefully that explains to you what we did with the show.
Listen, here's what I want to do real quick, because I have you, for some reason, I have you kind of pixelated right now. And I want you were coming in beautifully before, so I'm going to take you out real quick and bring you back in and see if that changes it. I may just have you relog in on your end.
Okay.
And then in the edited version of this puppy will look beautiful. Hold on, let me make sure I can see if we can get that. But did he look pixelated to you now?
A little bit. It was a little cloudy.
Okay, how about no? It's back. All right, Brian. Listen, can you link back in? I'm going to log you out.
Okay.
Just do the exact same, because when you first came in, your Wi-Fi was perfect.
Yeah,
so,
I got full bars for what it's worth.
I'm gonna kick you out and you log back in. Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead. Yeah, let's do that, because I know he's got such great stories. I want him to.
It's amazing some of the things he can tell us
But you know what? He really didn't tell us much on that
Well,
round.
no, he gave us sort of this tease, and I want to ask him so many things, but
yeah, all right. We'll get him to tell us something. You just keep.
I
working.
can't get over the amount of toys he has in that.
That's
office.
very funny, right?
We need a close up on some of them, and then maybe a tour of each piece. That might take about 10 days.
Let's see. He's back.
Is he coming back?
Oh,
way better.
Much better. All right, let's
much
continue.
better.
Go ahead.
I'll try and get closer too.
There you go. Perfect now.
Oh,
go ahead,
my
Naomi.
goodness.
Go ahead. Ask
Okay,
him what you
so
want.
the premise, though, of this whole thing is to tell us why they came up with the ride, how they came up with the ride, that you're changing some of the rides to improve them. Are things changing too? Are they, when they're updating some of the attractions?
So the attractions and the parks themselves are in a constant state of change. Walt himself said back in the day, before the park even opened, the park will never be done and the park should never be done. By the way, they just redid the Nemo ride like 7 or 8 years ago. I was at the park this past Saturday. They're redoing it again. So, by the way, I mean, I know people might get annoyed when I say this, but I swear to God, this was a natural conclusion I had while making the show. You know, everybody complains about their prices.
Mm-hmm.
If someone were to be like, Brian, what would be one of your favorite accomplishments that people took away from the series? I would say, like, there was a moment where we were making the show. We were at the park at like 4 a.m. And like, I literally said to myself, we did this thing called a third shift tour. It went from 9 p.m. until 5 a.m. For 2 weeks. I was like, this is going to be great. We're going to be going around the park when it's deserted. I've never been to the park when it's deserted.
Right.
There were thousands of cast members working. We were there in early August.
Yeah.
They while we were there that night, they were doing a full dress rehearsal for the Thanksgiving parade.
Oh my God.
Oh, man.
That alone was over 100 people. We were at one of the attractions. Again, it's 2, 3 in the morning. There were 12 full-time employees whose sole job it was that's all they did. It's not like they went around from attraction to attraction to attraction.
Yeah.
12 people, full-time job, making sure that attraction was safe for the next day.
Wow.
So for months and months, I'm seeing all this stuff. And I literally had this conclusion, like, how do these people make money? Like, I went from being like, listen, I'm sure the prices are not as bad as people think, to being like, I don't even know how these people make a profit.
Yeah.
Like, so what I've been saying is, it's like the parks are an iceberg where you only see that top 10%. So getting back to your question, I hope the takeaway is people appreciate, yes, it's $100 a ticket or whatever, the value. There are so many things at the park that cost, and I'm not exaggerating, hundreds of millions of dollars that nobody will ever see unless they watch our show. Unless they watch our show.
Yeah.
I do have to do a plug every now and then. But
on Disney Plus.
On Disney
Plus. Streaming, so you can watch it whenever you want. But there is one attraction they spent. I think the attraction itself was about $150 million. $50 million of that was building infrastructure for the lines. So instead of waiting for 5 hours, you're only waiting for 45 minutes.
Right.
You will have no idea that infrastructure exists. Like, you don't even know you've gone down 3 stories underground. That's how brilliant the Imagineers are.
Wow.
So here's a company who spends $50 million on something the public doesn't see.
Yeah, yeah.
So again, back to your question, Naomi, that's what I'm hoping people take away from it. Yes, there's some history. I know that could be a dirty word, but there's a little bit of history. There's a lot of, hey, you may not appreciate why this is important. Please trust us. We'll explain to you why. That's a big part of the show. And then, to be honest with you, it's just fun. We tried to make it fun. I'm a huge consumer of documentaries going back to college when you could only see them in movie theaters. Like, I've seen so many documentaries about fun topics that treat them like they're the rise and fall of the Roman Empire. We tried to make a fun show about a fun topic.
Right.
You know what bothers me? There's one ride. I've been going since I'm a kid, and I was just there a couple of years ago before COVID. There's one ride there that they have not changed in 40 years, and that's this one right here, the Peter Pan ride. Now, I don't know if they've ever updated this thing, but I remember going around, and it's still the same characters with the black lights, and we're flying through the air.
They can't improve that.
I'm like, they haven't changed this thing in years. They still got the crocodile with his mouth open.
I'll say two things to that, Scott. One, I bet you anything they have made changes. You just haven't noticed.
You didn't notice. Man.
Number two, that is very deliberate because Disney as a company, I've never seen a company more respectful of their own past.
Right.
Like, you go into the Tiki room, Tiki Lounge in Anaheim. I mean, this is a saying people throw around, but it's 1,000% true with Tiki. It's like going back in time.
That
attraction, I guarantee you anything, has not been touched.
You know what's funny? When I was a kid, my parents went with some friends. They came back. There was an album that they had of sounds of Disney World, the Haunted Mansion and all these things. And I remember one of those tracks on the album was from in the tiki room in the tiki.
Please don't sing.
You got to pay $8 for that, man. That's $8.
That's it.
I have to tell you my perspective on this whole thing. I used to work in radio. We were owned for a short time by Disney. And what a luxury to be able to go to the Disney radio station to broadcast live 6 to 10 a.m. because we were showcasing whatever new attraction had just been added to the park, right? So we had Animal Kingdom when they opened, Test Track, I remember. So I had all this juice, like I could get in the rides. You know, we had special tours because we were the press. I have no kids at the time. We obviously get sold. I have kids. I have no juice to get in this park and to get in and get behind the scenes anymore. But that was an amazing time to see Disney, to see at 5:30 in the morning when we'd show up when no one was in the park and the people were out cleaning and sweeping, and there was a lot of activity going on while it was dark out still, you know? It was just an amazing place, and it still is.
Still is, the fireworks at night. And Brian, did you guys coincide purposely the series, the documentary series with The Rock's movie that's coming out on the 30th? Did you guys do that on purpose?
Is the understatement of the millennium. Yes. It would either be the greatest coincidence in the history of media, or yes, it was as intentional as it gets.
That's so funny. Listen to me, to make a movie about the Jungle Cruise and to take that and turn it into an action film.
That was brilliant. I mean, he's a huge fan.
I have seen it, and it is fantastic. I saw it Saturday night. I'm going again with I took my wife. This weekend, I'm taking my kids. Jeez, you are good.
Look at that. That's a great shot.
Holy crap. You are Fast Draw McGraw, or whatever that guy's name is. But hi, baby. But yes, it is fantastic. And listen, no one pays me to say this. If I didn't like it, I just wouldn't have said anything. But it's Indiana Jones meets The Mummy meets African Queen. Like, it's
so funny.
Fun, but it's also really well written. Great dialogue. Like, it's wonderful. And I had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
You know, you read your bio, and even just when you got started in the business, you were your first big gig. You were a PA on a pretty classic movie, right?
Castaway, yes.
That was a good movie. And what were your thoughts from that job?
You know, it was really interesting. I mean, it really was it wasn't my first job in show business. I think it was like my 7th or 8th, but it was my first quote unquote real job. It was my first kind of in many ways paid job. So it was wild. I mean, I've been in LA for about 6 weeks, 7 weeks. And then I'm I'm 12 feet away from Tom Hanks and Bob Zemeckis and Helen Hunt. I was in the wardrobe department, I always like to say, because there's probably no one less qualified to be in a wardrobe department than me. But when you're in the wardrobe department, it's one of these departments where even the PAs are front and center everywhere. So like I was going to Helen Hunt's trailer and like bringing her shoes. I was going to Tom Hanks's house and showing him the red and black jacket from the Russia. It was wonderful. It was absolutely wonderful.
You had to make sure Wilson, the volleyball, stayed full of air and all that good stuff, right?
Too funny. I wanted to talk about
more wardrobe. Yes, but it didn't.
It didn't. When we talk about the Imagineers that are, connected to the, what does an Imagineer do? Can you tell us?
I hope they don't mind this answer. I mean, I'm just going to tell you what I think they do. This is not what's written in the official press points, but they go to a meeting one day, and in the meeting, somebody says to them, "Hey, here's something impossible. We need it done." And then they got to figure out how to do it.
They got to imagine it. Okay.
That really is their job. And the other thing I think worth mentioning is they will have meetings like that all week long. So on Monday, it's like, here's your impossible job. Tuesday, here's your new impossible job. And sometimes that impossible job is building a brand new amusement park where no park existed. Sometimes there's an attraction that the line is an hour and 1 minute, no matter what they do. They got to figure out how to get it under 40 minutes. And everything in between. Like, I'll give you another example of something I saw that I couldn't talk about until it was public. And I don't know if you saw this or not. Let's see how good Scott is, Scott.
Go ahead.
There's no way you'll get this up in less than a second.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. I got
Challenge
you.
on.
Here we go. So
Aerosmith ride, roller coaster.
Oh, yeah, you're off. You're off.
Right, damn. All right, go ahead.
They told us, they were like, okay, we're doing this attraction, but word came from up high. They want real lightsabers.
Okay.
What does that mean? How do you make a real lightsaber? Like,
right, a real one from Star Wars.
It's like a bling thing. I don't know.
It's in a base that's less than a foot long, and it has to go up to 7 feet long. Like, they did it. You can Google it. They announced it a month ago. They did it. So imagine your job is you're in a meeting, and they're like, before June, we need a real lightsaber. And then imagine you go to the same conference room on Wednesday, and they're like, we need to really be able to fly.
You're right.
That's what it means to be an Imagineer.
Okay.
They should have asked those guys for a COVID vaccine. They probably would have come up with it quick.
We were looking at the wrong people for the COVID vaccine.
Yeah, I guarantee you that would have happened.
You know what I really want to know, and people must ask you this all the time, the difference between Disneyland and Disney World. Am I not getting as good an experience at one park over the other? You know how people say, oh, Disney World's great, but Disneyland's better, or vice versa. When you were tackling the whole thing about talking about attractions, do some have greater ones than the other?
It's interesting. It's like, what's better, Morton's or Ruth Chris? Like, neither's better. They both do the same
great
thing,
yeah,
but they're both fantastic. And I thought you were going to put up the Morton symbol.
Hold on, let me get the Mortons up there.
No, they basically, the short, easy, stupid answer to your question is Orlando has more space very purposely because of the frustration that Walt and Roy had building the park in Anaheim.
Okay,
that's
didn't
the
know
short,
that.
easy answer.
Okay.
But the longer answer, which is also true, yes, it's the nuances between the parks, even on the quote-unquote same ride, and there is no same ride. Space Mountain in Orlando looks like Space Mountain in Anaheim, it ain't the same. There
I didn't
are
know that.
that are meaningful. They're not little BS differences, like they're real differences. So it's one of the beautiful things about making a series like this is you get to go to all, there are a lot of people who have been to all the parks. How many people have been to all the parks in less than 5 weeks?
Yeah.
So
that's tough.
We're at Haunted Mansion in Paris. Yes, it's a haunted house. Yes, it has some of the same characters as the one in Anaheim and Orlando. It's a completely different story with different characters, different ride mechanisms. And it's the greatest thing in the world directing this was I got to do them all back to back to back.
Right.
See these differences. And we tried to give that experience to the viewers as well.
Brian, listen, before you go, I know your company, Comedy Dynamics, right? Still one of your.
Well, the company is the Nacelle Company, right. And one of our brands on the stand-up side is Comedy Dynamics.
And I know when you were younger, you managed comedians, you worked with Kevin Hart and Dane.
I never managed Kevin. I've only produced for him.
Right, you produced one of his shows.
I never managed him. Dave Beckman would kill me.
Jeff Ross, who I love. I know you did some producing with Good Luck Chuck, right?
You had to go for Good Luck Chuck. Come on. Now you're busting my balls.
He's a buster.
When it comes to like comedy movies, if you had to go, top two, what are your favorite comedies of all time in the movie realm? Is it like, for me, you got to go right to Mel Brooks in the Blazing Saddles, Young Frankenstein genre. But for you as a guy who's you're behind the scenes, what are a couple of your favorites that you think are all-time greats?
I'll tell you my favorites. I'm reluctant to because I feel like it makes me a snob. So I will preface it by saying, this might be silly, but I'm a McDonald's guy. I'm a Cracker Barrel guy. I always say I feel like I have a white collar job with a blue collar mentality.
Hey, you're from Queens, man. You're from Queens.
That's right. but for some reason, when it comes to comedy, I got artsy fartsy taste.
Okay.
My favorite comedy of all time is A Fish Called Wanda.
I love
Not bad.
My second favorite comedy is Very Bad Things.
Oh, I love Very Bad Things.
I don't know.
That's one of those sleepers with what's his name? Vince Vaughn is in that movie.
Vince Vaughn,
right.
I mean, it's like
that's what right. They by mistake they kill a hooker in Vegas. They trying to get rid of her. Who's the what's her name?
Cameron. You left out to me what's the best part of the story, which is they accidentally
right
kill a prostitute.
Yeah.
And instead of calling the cops and maybe going to jail for a year,
it just keeps
they
getting
end up
worse.
killing half of each other, and the people that don't get killed probably are going to jail for life.
Right. And Cameron, the ending is phenomenal.
I'm gonna have to watch it now.
You gotta watch it.
Dark an ending as has ever been made for a comedy, and I would argue even any kind of movie. Like it rivals There Will Be Blood's ending.
Yes. I mean, it was Very Bad Things was phenomenal. Very
definitely
dark.
Not a Disney movie. No,
definitely wasn't a Disney movie. And finally, Brian, again, before you go, and the show's called Behind the Attraction on Disney Plus. You guys got to go check it out. It's phenomenal. You have a couple things on Netflix, like you mentioned earlier, The Toys That Made Us, and then you followed that up with The Movies That Made Us, which I thought was really cool. And I love the logo for it. Where'd it go? I lost it right here. Oh, because it was all the VHS right here, and it's kind of the movies in the 80s.
Yes.
That was really like, the movies of all our childhoods right there.
That's again, not by coincidence.
Really good. No, I love it, man. And those are all the movies that, guys our age reference anytime, you're trying to impress a girl, you take lines from those movies and you reference them.
Yeah, for sure.
Listen,
it
man.
Did not work on my wife, by the way, but
yeah.
Wait, hold on.
Your wife is as big a toy fan as you, is she?
The furthest thing from no toys can leave this room.
That's so funny. And she probably tells you to dust it quite often, I would assume.
No, she's kind of like, don't ask, don't tell. Like, what goes on in here doesn't leave here.
Does she have as many shoes as you have toys, maybe?
Luckily for me, and unfortunately for her, no.
I'm going to hound Brian to we'll get the Rock on to promote Jungle Cruise.
Yes.
You know, that'll happen when the moon is in line with Uranus and the astronomical signs. But anyway, Brian, listen, man, congratulations on all your success.
Best of luck, and we'll be watching.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna pop on the Disney Plus and start banging through this thing. But really, congratulations, and just look forward to more stuff from you guys. And please come back whenever you have some new projects. Love to have you back on, my friend.
I appreciate that. I'll take you up on it and let me know what you think.
Yes, great to meet you, Brian.
Thank
you both.
Have a good summer, my man.
You as well.
Stay well.
Bye. See ya.
Bye.
What a nice guy, Naomi,
Nice guy. See, and he's nothing like his serious face in that promo. he's actually very funny, and he loves comedy, and he's a director, so he's seen everything and been doing a lot.
Good guy from Queens, New York, and great. So it's Behind the Attraction, Disney Plus. By the way, after this is done, I'm going to replay our interview from this morning with Lawrence Gowan from
that was a good one. Very interesting.
And listen, I know a lot of everybody's logged on to the show tonight because I did promise Phil in a pool. Some folks, I put up a picture of Phil. Some people are telling me it's a fake.
Well, it's like, really Phil, right? It is Phil.
It's really Phil.
So why don't you just prove him wrong and show him?
Here's the latest from Phil, just in a couple hours ago, right to my cell phone. Here you go.
Hey, Suki and Scott and everybody watching the Suki and Scott show. I'm coming to you from an undisclosed location. We are still celebrating our 40th wedding anniversary week, and we are just having a heck of a time. As you can see, I am definitely taking it easy. Easy like a Sunday morning, maybe. I know it sounds funny, but I just can't stand the pain. Girl, I'm leaving you tomorrow. Seems to me, girl, I've done all I can, baby. You see, I begged, stole, and I borrowed, yeah. That's why I'm easy. I'm easy like Sunday morning. That's why I'm easy. Oh, I'm easy like Sunday morning. Anyway, I miss you guys, and hopefully I'll see you real soon. You guys take care.
Wanna be high.
He's a smoothie, isn't he? I love the fountain right by his head coming down. Added that little extra something,
It's funny. Through his glasses, you could see his arm.
I saw his
holding the phone. But listen, Phil knows. You give him a little bit, you leave him wanting more. It's better to give less, right? So, all right. Well, listen, we made it through
somehow.
I'm sorry, Jack Blades couldn't make it. He'll be back another day. Listen, tomorrow.
We've got like a big show again tomorrow, hoping everybody shows up.
It doesn't stop. I told you.
No.
We have the legendary Melba Moore. I know you're a big fan of her.
I am a huge fan because the disco days, she was right there with the best music.
Yeah, Melba Moore and Nikki Bailey, a fantastic comedian, is coming on. So we'll finish off the week strong. And then there's no shows next week. So I'll leave you alone. I won't make
nice and get a little vacation for you, I hope, and you rest because you work so hard. I said, can you just take a vacation?
What?
You need a vacation. Maybe you come visit me in Rhode Island. How about that?
But listen, in all honesty, you're having a good time, right? Isn't it?
Fun? It's not work. This isn't work.
It's really not.
Fun. You're doing all the work.
Yes, I'm doing
just
the work.
Here for the ride.
But isn't it funny how we guide them with the questions, and I already have the pictures up.
You know,
it almost
you're very,
seems like a
yeah,
seems
you're
like
very
I'm
good
getting
at that.
seems
And
like I'm getting them, but they're really here already because I've anticipated.
well,
the
that's
answer.
all the work you've been doing. But you know what's funny? I don't think anyone was as impressed as Brian was tonight at how quick you were.
Oh
to
yeah,
put
yes,
up
with his
pictures.
wife, right?
It was pretty funny. You were really on tonight, boy. That was
Oh,
impressive.
man.
Very impressive, Scott.
Thank you very much, Naomi.
You're
I'd
welcome.
like to take a minute to thank. All right, no, listen, everybody, we love you guys. Thank
Love
you so much for
everybody.
hanging out. Go watch. Listen, all our shows are
Oh, yeah.
live up on Stir, STIRR. I know we're still the #1 show, so I know you guys are watching.
Yep.
And we love you, and we'll be back tomorrow. And
what's the movie I need to watch
Peace
too?
out.
No, the movie I need to watch.
Oh, Very Bad Things.
Very Bad Things. Okay.
Yes, it's
I'll be back with my review.
So who did I say is in it already? I forgot.
It's Vince Vaughn. Is that right?
Vince Vaughn. Who's the guy? Oh my God, I'm losing my mind.
I could Google it right now, but it's too late.
Forget the Google. I'm going to figure it out. It's Vince Vaughn, the beautiful blonde from Charlie's Angels.
Oh,
What's her name?
Farrah Fawcett, Cheryl Ladd.
No, the new Charlie's Angels.
The new Charlie's Angels.
I just said her name a few minutes ago.
God, I don't know.
Naomi, come on. We can't both have Alzheimer's disease, for Christ's sake.
Please don't say that.
The blonde. You
Okay.
had Drew Barrymore, Lucy Liu, and who?
Oh, yeah.
She was in The Mask.
Somebody out there might know it.
Oh,
No
my
one's
God.
helping us. Well, anyway.
Cameron Diaz.
Oh, Cameron Diaz, who doesn't really do anything anymore.
Yes,
That's the
Cameron
funny
Diaz, Vince Vaughn,
and Drew Barrymore.
the guy who forget it. Just go look.
Okay.
Go look at.
You know what? This is a very bad
What's his
thing.
name? He plays Ari in
I love him.
What's his name?
In
what's his friggin' name? He plays Ari in the show, the Entourage.
Entourage. I was going to say Sabotage. Entourage.
Yeah, he's in it, and it's dark.
That's a good
but it's
cast.
funny.
Okay, I'm going to try check it out. But thanks.
Go
I didn't
ahead.
mean to digress. And you're trying to say good night. So
Good
go to
night.
bed. Have a great
Good night,
rest.
sweetheart. Well, it's
It's time to go.
Do, 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 do.